when you're learning, you know, it's not a very fancy job, right? Because you have to also understand it does not require complex qualifications or investment in your education to get into it, right? You don't need to be an MBA, you don't need to be an engineer, you don't need to be any of those to get into the field. So I would say cost of education for getting into it is pretty cheap, right? And that's why initially when you're learning, you would not be, like earning that much. I would say put it more of it as conveyance, whatever you're earning in the initial first 2 years of your career, right? But once you start, operating at a level, because what will happen is if you're learning fast here, you'll grow very, very fast because the field is pretty new. It is opening up opportunities literally every day, right? There is no number or research to it, but each and every day, a lot of people are turning into creators from consumers. Each and every day, a lot of brands and companies are shifting their campaigns or adding more percentage to the influencer marketing-led campaigns, right? So the industry is growing pretty aggressively. So your couple of years when you're learning, it's not that much, but once you get a grip of what you're doing, I think sky is the limit, because I think it does pay really well, right? If you have an entrepreneurial approach, then that's a different thing, right? Because then you will say do some years in the job, maybe you're on a fancy salary, and then you decide to experiment more with what I can do on my own as well and stuff like that. But from a job or from a salary or compensation hike perspective, after the first 3 years, it's really impressive. If I have to give you a standard for your when you're working in your first 2 years, I think you'll be earning between 10 to 30K, right? Something like that a month. So those will be your first 2 years. And the next couple of years, I think your salary bracket would move to say close to a 40 or 50 or something like that. Now, after year 4 or year 5, it will really depend on how much you've learned, right? And what career decisions you're making. What are you looking at specializing in, right? That will decide what, how much hike or compensation or career graph or a spike it takes. Because after you've done your first 3-4 years, then the industry is so new that you've kind of become a small expert in something, right? Now, if you could use this skill for your own organization or some other organizations or whatever you're doing, then you can get paid really well, and I mean in lakhs. So yeah, I think that's how it'll go.